Okay, we're in Rosh Chodesh Adar, and I think we could be prepared a little bit better this year for the Megillah. So speak about the Megillah. I hope in a way that we could learn something new.
Should we turn the light? Could I see your
No, that's fine.
Oh, yeah, if you want to.
There are famous midrashim that if you put them together, you could see different angle of the entire thing. First, maybe few facts. Megillah Esther describing an event that happened actually in 9 years. When we read the Megillah, depending which shul you're going, it seems like it's 20 minutes event or half an hour. And actually it's 9 years. It's a whole 9 years. From the third, Vishnat Shalosh Lebolchol, the third year of the kingdom of the Melech Achashverosh, until Shnat 12 Lebolchol, 12. So it's approximately 9 years, 9-10 years, the entire thing. Now, there is a famous medrash that the Rambam bring lahalacha in Hilchos Megillah. I'll quote it the way it is. כל ספרי הנביאים וכל הכתובים עתידים להיבטל לימות המשיח. חוץ ממגילת אסתר. הרי היא קיימת כ5 חומשי תורה וכהלכות של תורה שבעל פה שאינם בטלים לעולם. So this medrash is very difficult to understand. It says that the entire Nevi'im and Ksuvim, we're talking about the Tanakh, our initials of Torah, Nevi'im and Ksuvim, speaks here about Nevi'im and Ksuvim, עתידים להיבטל לימות המשיח. חוץ ממגילת אסתר, that is in the Ksuvim, and Megillah Esther and 5 חומשי תורה are going to stay forever. ואף על פי שכל זיכרון הצרות ייבטל, ימי הפורים לא יבטלו. So to understand it a little bit, the entire Nevi'im and Ksuvim actually explained or described what happened to the Jews after they went to the land of Eretz Yisrael, and they didn't do what's right, and they punished by Galus, and all this Galus will not be relevant anymore. This is אף על פי שכל זיכרון הצרות ייבטל, because the Tanakh actually never add anything about on the Torah, only Tisha B'Av of the Churban. So this going to be not relevant at the end of days, and Yemot HaMashiach, but Purim will stay forever. שנאמר, וימי הפורים האלה לא יעברו מתוך היהודים, וזכרם לא יסור מזרעם. It's a quote from the Megillah, that it will never be irrelevant. וזכרם לא יסור מזרעם, forever. So, there is another thing that I want to add over here, is the halacha that you have to hear the Megillah twice, in the nighttime, in the morning, but there are halachas. You have to hear the Megillah from the beginning to the end, no breaks. You cannot go backward. You should see the entire thing. So, of course, the explanation is that the Megillah described a nes that was actually a nes nistar. It's not an obvious nes. It was a series of events that each one of them by itself was very not special, but when you put them together, you could see the plan. And this is the thing that I want to speak about, the plan, according with the Midrashim. I'll say in the beginning that those 9 years that described in the Megillah are actually a microcosmos of the entire thing, of the entire world, and the entire Hashgacha. Hashem created the world for a purpose. He leading the world from the beginning to the end to fulfill this purpose. It doesn't show. It's beyond the sin. But there is Hashgacha. In Megillah Esther, we see this Hashgacha within 9 years. If we start the Megillah, we have to know the background in order to understand the amazing points that many people, we know the story since we were kids, but these things. ויהי בימי אחשוורוש, הוא אחשוורוש המולך מאוד ובעדכו 27 ומאה מדינה. Who is Achashverosh? Where is he coming from? So we have to know the history. Nebuchadnezzar Melech Bavel was the one who destroyed Beis HaMikdash and took us to the Golus of 70 years, called Golus Babel. 52 years after the destruction of the first Beis HaMikdash was the famous party of Belshazzar, which was the grandson of Nebuchadnezzar, and he took the vessels from Beis HaMikdash, and in his party was the amazing event of the hand that come and write down this things on the wall. No one understand it, but Daniel, he says, it says, Mene mene tkelu parsin, and Daniel explained it, Mana Hashem et malchutcha u'mitzah chasera, Hashem count your time to be a king, and you done. In the same night, Belshazzar was assassinated, and in the same night, Porus Umadai, Koresh, a Parsi, and Daryavesh Hamadi conquered and replaced the superpower in the world, which was Babel. The Jews has another 18 years to stay in Golus until the rebuild of the second Beis HaMikdash, In those 18 years were the time when the Megilla, actually at the end of it, it was 5 years or 4 or 5 years of Koresh and Daryavesh ruling. Then came Achashverosh. Now Achashverosh was not a son of Koresh or Daryavesh. He was not from the Zera HaMelucha at all. The Medrash says that actually he was in his past guard of the horses of Nebuchadnezzar or the Babylonian. Guard of the horse meaning in charge of the vehicles, because at the time that was the vehicles. That was the okay. So how he became a king? So says the Megillah. Let me add another question in order to understand this. Again, בימים ההם, in those days, כשבט המלך על כיסא מלכותו אשר בשושן הבירה, בשנת 3 למולכו. And the Gemara says it's a contradiction. כשבט המלך, when he start to sit. Why בשנת 3? בשנת 3 is 3 years after, or 2 years after, a complete 2 years when the third year started. So what's the why? So it was a whole cheshbon over there. So it was few stories. Another thing, by the way, כשבט המלך על כיסא מלכותו אשר בשושן הבירה. What is the emphasis about here? The כיסא מלכותו אשר בשושן הבירה. So there is a medrash, maybe you're familiar with it. If not, I'll mention it. When Shlomo HaMelech became a king, he made a special chair, special כיסא malchus. It's mentioned in Sefer Melachim Aleph Perek Yud. ויעש המלך, we're talking about שלמה המלך, כיסא שן גדול, ויצפהו זהב מופז, 6 מעלות לכיסא. There is a description of very interesting, not just beautiful chair, but very sophisticated chair. So this chair was taken to Egypt by Pharaoh. Later on, one of the Melach of the dynasty, kings from the dynasty of Pharaoh tried to sit on this chair, and he didn't know the rules, so he got hit by, and he became a limb. So that was Paro Necho. So the chair was very beautiful. It went to different places. Achashverosh really liked this kiseh, and he knew that it's very dangerous to do it. So he asked who could make such a chair. It was a place in Bavel called Shushan. Shushan was not the capital. Was a place, was a city in Bavel, a small city. Many Jews were there. So over there you find the people who could do the chair, the same chair, similar chair. So they built the chair for a long time, and then when it's done, the Medrash says it was too big to bring it to the capital. So Achashverosh did something amazing, and that's what hinted the Megillah in those words, Al kiseh malchuto asher b'shushan habira. I don't know if you know, how do you say it in English, but in Hebrew they said, Im Muhammad lo ba el har, har ba le Muhammad. If right. So what he decided to do crazy thing. You cannot bring the chair to the capital. Let's bring the capital to the chair, and therefore it says Al kiseh malchuto asher b'shushan habira. So why this chair was so important for him? because he wanted to be a legitimized king. He was not from the dynasty of Megilla, so he did many things in order to give himself legitimacy. One of those was this famous chair, because this chair shows kingdom, shows Chashivas. Therefore, he moved the entire capital to Shushan. In Shushan were many Jews, and Mordechai was also there. And here starts the plan behind the scene that you do not know. I mean, you see the events, you do not understand them, but there are cheshbon. Another thing that he did, he married Vashti. Vashti were from a royal family. She was a dynasty, from the dynasty of the Nebuchadnezzar. So he married Vashti again in order to make himself a king. The other crazy thing that he did is those parties. Now, why it was happening at the third year? It was a whole cheshbon that Belshazzar did and got punished, got killed in the same night to calculate the 70 years that was in the Nevuah of Yirmiyahu. So Belshazzar made a mistake and he paid a riff in his life. And then Achashverosh learned from it. He was a very careful person, so he learned that it's not smart to go on the chair of Shlomo. So he made something similar. It's not smart to do fast calculation, so let's do a thorough calculation. And he made a mistake also. So the calculation ended that after he finished complete 2 years, the third year, according to his cheshbon, finished the 70 years. And he made a mistake. But that was the reason that he made this party at the third year. Okay, now, this party was complete...
I'm sorry, it was the third year of what?
Of his king, when he became a king. So the calculation was that after 2 years of him as a king, the 70 years of the Nevuah of Yirmiyahu is over, and the Jews are not redeemed, so it's a reason for a party. Now, this party is completely crazy. If you look at it, I mean, and think about it, it was two parties that mentioned the first chapter in Megillah Esther. The first party was for the administration. Let me quote it from the Megillah. בשנת שלוש למולכו עשה משתה לכל שריו ועבדיו. His ministers and servants. חיל פרס ומדי הפרטמים ושרי המדינות. He was a king on 127 states. Meaning, he was a Persian, but he was as a superpower ruling all those places. So he has people who represent him in different places. He called all of them to Shushan, all of them, for a party. What was the reason of this party? And this party was completely insane. Let's see. בהראותו את עושר כבוד מלכותו, it was a show-off, very obvious show-off. בהראותו את עושר כבוד מלכותו ואת יקר תפארת גדולתו, ימים רבים, many days, 80 ומעט יום, if you calculate it, it's a half a year. 180 יום, huh? This is completely not, it doesn't make any sense. You take the people who are your people in charge of the entire kingdom, bring them to Shushan. For what? What's the idea? For half a year of party. Drinking, eating, 180 days? So what was the idea? Again, he was not really sure about, he wants to make sure that Ratzalev says to establish his kingdom. So the first thing was, make sure that all the people that works for you are really appreciate you. So bring them for a party, but so long, yeah. So those are the three things that he did, right? The chair, the special chair, and moving the capital there, marrying Vashti, and doing a party to show his workers that he is a good boss. Okay. After he finished this, he did another party for 7 days. That was the second party. That was for the citizens of Shushan. ובמלוא הימים האלה עשה המלך לכל העם הנמצאים בשושן הבירה, למגדול ועד קטן. So everyone got invitation to their mailbox. You invited to the palace for free party for 7 days. Okay. Again, he wants to capture the heart of the people of Shushan, that they will not rebel against him, to establish his kingdom. כל העם הנמצאים בשושן, many of them was Jews. Because Jews happen to be always, in Washington. So many of them were Jews, and it was an invitation from the king to come, right? Of course, it was a Shiloh. How could you go to a party of a goyim? And at the time, they were from, some of them. So they asked a Shiloh. They went to the Sanhedrin and asked, could we go to this? Now, what was the question? Obviously, the answer would be no. But, it was few buts. First of all, politically, it's not smart not to go, because it will show that the Jews are not going along with the king. So who needs this? Anti-Semitism, we are in exile, we have to be nice, we have to have connections, right? It's not enough, but the other thing was, כי כן ייסד המלך לעשות על כל רב ביתו, לעשות כרצון איש ואיש. So, just kidding, על כל רב ביתו, it was a rabbanim over there that give hechsher. על כל רב ביתו לעשות כרצון איש ואיש, meaning, what hechsher you want? You makpid on this hechsher, got this hechsher, כרצון איש ואיש. So it was the best hechsherim of the food, whatever you want. And why not? Why not? There'll be a section for Jews, completely kosher, cruise, completely kosher, few rooms or few. Why not to go? The Sanhedrin said no. So I'm saying, history is history and it's repeat itself. Remember, imagine at the time it was a leftist Jews that they have, let's say, ruling the media, and there was a newspaper, let's say Haaretz or Davar, all this left in Israel. What would be the headlines? The Rabbanim do not understand anything in politics. They're always fanatic and they cause all the problems. They do not understand. So, okay. So probably it was a protest against the Psak Halacha of the Rabbanim. But anyways, the Gemara says that they went anyways. The Medrash, the Gemara, they went anyways. Even though the Rabbanim said don't go. And the question is, why the Rabbanim said don't go? The answer, everything could be kosher. The food could be the best hechsherim. But you go to a party for a goyim. What goyim do in the party? How much you could eat? How much? 7 days. How much you could eat? So you need entertainment? Yes, it was entertainment. Well, different kind probably of entertainment. One of them to choose the beauty lady, right? Okay, so this event is event that the Jews should be in. The food is kosher.
Vashti was the queen.
Yeah.
There was a beauty
She has to be
contest.
fairest of
Yeah.
all.
It was the entire story was to choose the beauty lady in the world. How do you say it in English?
Miss Shushan.
And then
Miss
she
Shushan.
said,
Miss Universe.
Oh, that right.
Miss Universe.
Oh, right.
Most beautiful. I
Or
thought
Mrs.
that's why he wanted to
Universe.
call her, because he wanted to show off her beauty, that she should
Right.
be the winner.
So, but before she was number one, right? But before that was a process. Every day was, one stage and choosing the Miss Universe. So the Jews should be there and see that. So the one said, don't go. It's not just this. It's keruv hadat to the goyim and a lot of. Okay. They went. Now what happened? Now here we have to know. Achashverosh was also not sure about. He wants to establish his kingdom. He was in the entire. It's mentioned a few times in the Megillah. Something called Bedatei Paras Umadai. It was rules of Paras Umadai. What was the rules of Paras Umadai? Even the king is obligated to certain rules. So when the Megillah described that Vashti also made a party for ladies, okay? And Bayom Hashvi, Ketov Lev HaMelech Bayayin Amar, and here it mentioned the names. למהומן בזתה חרבונה בקתה ואבגדתה זיתר וחרקס 17 איסים המשרתים את פני המלך אחשוורוש. It mentioned a few times those names, person's names of the servants or the king or the ministers that was משרתים את פני המלך אחשוורוש. So he asked them, and the first one of them was Mehuman. Remember this name? Mehuman Bizta. Okay. להביא את ושתי המלכה לפני המלך בכתר מלכות, to show her off that she is the most beautiful lady in the event. Okay? And Vashti refused to come. Now, the king made this announcement in front of everyone. The Medrash says that he showed to them, you think you saw the most beautiful lady? Let me show you my wife. So the announcement was public. And when Vashti refused to come, it was public also, and it was embarrassing to the king. Now here's the thing. It's not just that she insulted him. Because he was the king, it was a problem, a constitutional problem to the kingdom. Therefore, ותמיין המלכה ושתי לבוא בדבר המלך אשר ביד הסריסים, ויקצוף המלך מאוד וחמתו בערה בו. He was very angry. But, okay, if it was a personal thing between him and her, he could close the deal with her, right? But he could not do it because it became a national problem, a constitutional problem. Therefore, ויאמר המלך לחכמים יודעי העיתים. He has to put together the legislators. החכמים יודעי העיתים, כי כן דבר המלך בני כל יודעי דת ודין. People, I don't know. יודעי העיתים is money, is times. יודעי העיתים, probably they knew the background of precedents. In order to make this decision, they should know the history of the Constitution. Maybe that is the reason of this is the meaning of יודעי העיתים. ויאמר המלך לחכמים יודעי העיתים, כי כן דבר המלך לפני כל יודעי דת ודין. יודעי דת ודין, they were the most professional legislature or judiciary people. Now, it's mentioned again, והקרוב אליו, קרשנה שתר אדמתה, תרשיש מרס מרסנה ממוכן. So the Gemara says that Memuchan and Mehuman, that was in the first delegation, and here Memuchan is Haman. Mehuman from Milashon Mehuma, turmoil, and Memuchan that he was ready to be punished. Hu Haman lapur'anut Muchan. So here it's meant over there in the delegation to bring Vashti. Mehuman was the first one. Here Memuchan is number 7, right? והקרוב אליו, קרשנה שתר אדמת התרשיש, מרס מרסנה ממוכן, 7 שרי פרס ומדי, רואה פני המלך, היושבים ראשונה במלכות. So they were in the hierarchy, יושבים ראשונה. They were the most important people after the king. When Haman was number 7. כדעת מה לעשות במלכה ושתי, על אשר לא עשתה את מאמר המלך אחשוורוש ביד הסריסים. So, the Megilla described that from all the 7, after the king presented the problem, number 7 jumped. ויאמר ממוכן לפני המלך והשרים. לא על המלך לבדו אהבתה ושתי המלכה, כי על כל השרים ועל כל העמים. It's not a personal thing between the queen and the king. It's a problem for all the kingdom. And he mentioned, כי על כל השרים ועל כל העמים. He mentioned the ministers. And he was one of the ministers. So obviously, he giving יודעי דת ודין. What's יודעי דת ודין? Professional legislators. But here you see that his problem was personal. He was a minister, and he got scared that his wife, Zeresh, now will learn from the queen how not to listen to her husband. So here we have to know another thing, that we always presented that, this is a very professional opinion. No such a thing. No professional opinion. Every opinion of professionals is personal. It's coming for the way you think. Because here we have seven advisors. Why this one jumped? Why it was so important to him? Not because he really wants to do the Constitution. He has a personal problem. So he was scared from the relationship between him and Zeresh. Therefore he comes with this idea. כי יצא דבר המלכה על כל הנשים, להבזות בעליהם בעיניהם. Because they would say, המלך אחשוורוש אמר להביא את ושתי המלכה ולא בא. So, והיום הזה תאמרנה שרות פרס ומדי. The wives of the ministers, אשר שמעו את דבר המלכה, לכל שרי המלך ודי בזה ומקיצר. So, what happened over here? Haman came and with this idea that it has to be very severe punishment. אם על המלך טוב יצא דבר מלכות לפניו, וייכתב בדתי פרס ומדי. Again, ייכתב בדתי פרס ומדי, it will be part of the constitution. Okay? ולא יעבור, אשר לא תבוא ושתי לפני המלך אחשוורוש, ומלכותה ייתן המלך לרעותה הטובה ממנה. In the Megilla it sounds very nice, you know, send her for retirement time. No, but it was not the case. She was killed. Okay. ונשמע פתגם המלך אשר יעשה בכל מלכותו, וכל אנשים ייתנו יקר לבעליהם, everyone will appreciate their husband, זה מגדול ועד קטן, doesn't matter if he's a big shot or a small person. ויטב הדבר בעיני המלך והשרים. ויעשה המלך כדבר ממוכן, and he did this. And he sent books. It's written, דתי פרס ומדי, and it was published all over. It's not easy. Today,
Executive order.
yeah, it's executive order, but today, you know, you could hear it in the news. Over there, 127 medinot has to be written, no fax, no, you know, it has to be written. להיות כל איש שורר בביתו מדבר כלשון עמו, and that was the first weird thing that this king did. Because it's obvious why we need to make it public and announce it. Okay. Now, here, let's start to see what's going on. Achashverosh did something crazy because he married Vashti in order to legitimize his status as a king. Now he killed her because he was drunk. He killed her. And the cause of this was Haman. And Haman start now to build the tree that he's going to be hanged on. Haman was the cause of removing Vashti. Instead of that came Esther, that will be his executor later on. Okay? So all this, it's not shown. You see, you know, kings do parties. Yeah, that happened. People could get crazy and kill their wife. Happened. Look at the news. It happened. But if you see and just put together all the things, you will see what it's leading to. Okay, so that happened when, in the 3rd year of Achashverosh. Then Achashverosh becomes sober, and wow, we realize that זכר את ושתי ואת אשר עשת ואת אשר נגזר עליה. So they told him, don't worry, ויאמרו אל המשרתיו, you're a big king. Many ladies all over the kingdom will be happy to be the queen. Go to Shidduchim. And he went to Shidduchim for 4 years. Again, we read in the Megillah in 20 minutes, but you have to understand. בשנת 3 למלכו he killed Vashti, and בשנת 7 למלכו he chose Esther. So for 4 years, he was in Shidduchim. Now what happened? He gathered ladies from all over the kingdom. And again, what is described over here, it's completely amazing. They put together in Shushan a beauty salon. And all the ladies that were candidates were going there for a year of a beauty treatment. 6 חודשים בשמן המור, 6 חודשים בבשמים. And here's the crazy thing. The Megillah described, איש יהודי היה בשושן הבירה ושמו מרדכי בן יאיר בן שמעי בן קיש איש ימיני. He was in Shushan. והיא אומנת הדסה היא אסתר בת דודו. הדסה היא אסתר. So the Gemara asked in Megillah, what was her name? Esther or Hadassah? So there is a machloket, but Rabbi Yehuda says over there, Tanya, Rabbi Yehuda אומר, Hadassah shma. It's in Megillah דף י"ג, Hadassah shma. ולמה נקרא שמה אסתר? על שם שהייתה מסתרת דבריה, שנאמר אין אסתר מגדת את עמה. The only time in the Megillah that the name Hadassah mentioned here, והיא אומרת הדסה היא אסתר בת דודו, but in the entire Megillah her name is Esther. The Megillah called Megillah of Esther. We know her Esther as Esther, and what's the idea? Because she was hiding her identity. it says in the Megillah, לא הגידה אסתר את עמה ואת מולדתה, כי מרדכי ציווה עליה אשר לא תגיד. Mordechai told her, and he has a reason, he had his own reason, don't say that you are Jewish. Now look at this. Think about it. This is crazy. The king looked for a queen, right? So, when all the ladies gathered from all over, they came to Shushan in the beginning for the process of a year. Probably they were giving an application form. Probably, right? They have to put their names, the family,
Resumes.
telephone number, email,
Pictures, yeah.
pictures. Esther went through this without, no one asked, or even if they asked, she just didn't answer, and it passed. Oh, it doesn't make any sense. It seems amazing. Okay, after a year, now she's going to the king. Probably was another application. The king has to know what's her name at least, right? She passes without telling anything. The king chose her, right? So it was an engagement party? Yes, probably, right? You do not have to be a king. A regular person will want to know the family of the color, right? So Achashverosh asked her, can we meet the parents? She said probably, so what Achashverosh was saying? Oh, okay, I understand. It's a boo-boo. I'm not asking questions. Fine.
I don't want to rock the boat.
And it was engagement party without the parents of the Kala there. And it passed. No one asked me too many questions. Not just the king, the administration, no one. Then he married her. And the parents didn't come to the chuppah. I wonder when the Rav was Musar Kiddushin over there, he said, Esther Bas, and it's passed. And for 5 years they were married, and the king do not know and do not care what family she's from, what nation she's from. This by itself is amazing. But that's what the Megillah described. And that was the entire strategy of Mordechai. Mordechai told her in advance, Ish Yehudi. But he said, don't say that you Yehudi, that you're Jewish. Right before that, before the issue, when she was chosen, was brought to the palace and become the queen, Mordechai moved from his house that was somewhere in Shushan next to Shar HaMelech, the gate of the palace. He was not part of the administration, so he was not allowed inside, but he was in the closest place to there. Was 2 guards over there, Biktam Vateresh, and we have to know again, because it was a superpower, not everything in the administration was Persian. And those guys were not Persians, Biktam Vateresh. And they decided, from their own reason, to assassinate the king. So they spoke. And they spoke freely and openly at the gate in a very foreign language that they were sure no one understand, because they're in Paris. People understand Persian. They do not understand this language. Mordechai was part of the Sanhedrin. In the Sanhedrin there is a rule, because that you need to get testimonies, and you could not get, as a judge, a testimony translated. So in every Sanhedrin was one person that should be familiar in all languages, 70 languages. At least one, and 2 that's familiar with more than one. Or Mordechai was the one who was understood. He understood all the languages, and he heard them. He heard them. He got the information, and he passed it. Of course, not clear, not direct, because he didn't know. He didn't want that people will know that he has connection with Esther, but he passed the information to Esther. Esther passed it to the king verified it was true, and it was written in the history books that King Achashverosh owed his life to an anonymous Jew by the name of Mordechai. So the entire thing was set. Now the story could start. And this is the third chapter of the Megillah. Achar advarim haele. What's achar advarim haele? Every time when the Tanakh starts with the word achar advarim haele, after those words, it means that the events that we're going to describe ahead connected to the things that, what's the achar advarim haele? Acharei, after Vashti was removed and killed, and Esther was replacing her, and the king do not know that Esther is Jewish, and the king owes his life to Mordechai, because he saved his life. After all of this, we could start the story. And what is the story? גידל המלך אחשוורוש את המן בן המדת האגגי וינשאהו וישם את כיסאו מעל כל השרים. What is the meaning of this? He was number 7, remember? Right? So now, the king...
But why was he number 1 at the beginning? Right. He was number 1.
As a servant. He probably... in the beginning
he was one of the 7.
Yeah. In the beginning, he was one of the 7 who was sent to bring Esther.
Okay.
So probably he has two roles. As a servant, he was one of the servants of the king. The king trusted him, and over there he was number 1. But in his in the administration, he was a minister number 7. So he was a minister under 7.
It was the same 7 names.
No, it's not the same.
It wasn't the same
No.
name.
Even his name wasn't the same.
Even his name is he is Mehuman and he is Mechum. Yeah.
Isn't Hey and Chet interchangeable? Oh, it's not a Chet, it's a Chaf.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, I thought it's the same names. And
No,
then
it's
he
not.
just said,
Look at this. It's not. So the king took him from being number 7 and put him the head of the ministers. He put him number 1. That was not a natural thing, but the king could do everything because he is the king. But in order, again, to establish it, again, remember, he has very, איך אומרים את זה? חוסר ביטחון עצמי. Low self-confidence. About his kingdom as a king. And now when we do a dramatic political decision, he also has to make it strong. And here comes this thing that never happened in the history, that a king will give an order that everyone should bow down to someone that's not the king. It's a contradiction to the kingdom. But because he wants to make it clear that it's his decision to make Haman number 1, Rosh Hashanah, he put an order that everyone should bow down to Haman to show that he is like the king. Okay, so everyone bowed down to Haman, but Mordechai. ומרדכי לא יכרע ולא ישתחווה. So, it says over here, וכל עבדי המלך אשר בשער המלך קוראים ומשתחווים להמן. All the people that was inside in the administration, they must bow down to Haman, and Haman was going back and forth to the palace, from the palace, because he has a very important role. So, everyone was bowing down then over there in Shar HaMelech when he was entering, and Mordechai lo yichra v'lo yishtachave. And here's the question about Mordechai. Why do you do that? Why? You do not want to bow down to a Russia. So when you can't just go, why you have to stand there and shows that you're not? And again, probably the newspapers of the leftists. What are you doing? Fanatic, Jew, you do not have to demonstrate. To put it in public, you do not understand what you're going to do. You know, anti-Semitism and this guy going to hate the entire Jews. You put the entire nation in danger. And they were right. They were right. And that's what exactly happened.
So you're saying until now the Jews lived happy and everything was fine? Meaning there was no anti-Semitism at all?
I don't know. Anti-Semitism always was in a low volume. But over here now you irritated. You're going to make it strong. And that's exactly what happened. ויאמרו עבדי המלך אשר בשער המלך למרדכי, מדוע אתה עובר את מצוות המלך? In the beginning, they say nicely to him, you do not know the order? Why do you do that? And he didn't pay attention. ויהי באומרם אליו יום ויום ולא שמע אליהם. ויגידו להמן, לראות יעמדו דברי מרדכי, כי הגיד להם אשר הוא יהודי. He told them, Mordechai told the servants that he is Jewish. And Jew could not bow down to anyone but to Hashem. Of course not to him. וירא המן כן מרדכי קורא ומשתחווה לו וימלא המן חמאה. He got very mad, ויבז בעיניו לשלוח יד במרדכי לבדו, כי הגידו לו את מרדכי. He knew that it's not a personal thing. Even if you would kill Mordechai, the other Jews would never accept him. ויבקש המן להשמיד להרוג את כל היהודים אשר בכל מלכות אחשוורוש היה מרדכי בחודש הראשון. Okay. One of the things that we have to remember, that this decree that happened then, what Haman did, what Haman wants to do, and what Achashverosh approved by giving him the ring, never happened in the history. What he wants to do? He wants to kill all the Jews. Asher b'chol malchut Achashverosh, meaning the entire 127 states, which means the entire nation in the world. And he wants to kill them, as we will see later, ביום אחד. את כל היהודים אשר טף ונשים ביום אחד. It never happened. Even Hitler, יימח שמו וזכרו, that has the same idea, להשמיד, להרוג ולאבד את כל היהודים. But it's not ביום אחד. It was not in one day. It took them 6 years, the Nazis, יימח שמו, and they covered 1/3 approximately of the Jewish nation. Here we're talking about one day, everyone.
It's a much smaller nation.
When? At the time?
Of course.
How do you know?
Not necessarily.
How do you know?
Well,
Because we've populated the world for so many years that we've grown and grown.
Jews never grew.
yeah, if you-
Jews
if you-
always were small.
Why? There were 600,000 when they left.
They were maybe the
Mitzrayim,
same
and then-
percentage, but the whole world is so
From 20
much.
to 60.
Exactly, from 20 to 60. Same.
Right, but even so, from 20
We
to
mentioned
60,
that
1945.
few shurim ago, if you remember, when we talked about the Yetzias Mitzrayim, 600,000 families, which means adults. You're talking about 1,200,000 husband and wives, right? Only between the ages of 20 to 60.
Right.
How many kids? ובני ישראל פרו וישרצו וירבו ויעצמו במאוד מאוד. At least 10 kids in each family. You're talking about 6 million on the spot.
But 6 million was a third during World War II.
I understand, but if you take again the history, you know, at the time of the Nazis, before the war, was 18 million Jews all over the world, approximately. No one really knows. Okay, so here it doesn't matter. You know what? The numbers are not. Doesn't matter over here. Here it was a decree to remove, to vanish the entire nation in one day. In one day.
So that's what was
Wait,
never
back
done.
up a second, to back up. Were the Jews really, it seems to me that they were not on board with Mordechai, that they were angry at him for doing this.
No, it was opposition always. It was opposition.
Okay,
But
but you're saying, but basically they
it
were.
doesn't, you see, that's the thing the left do not understand. You could be the nicest, you still be hated. It doesn't matter what you're going to do. That's their stupidity. They think that if they will be like the Goyim will like them. Never. We have history. 3,300 years. Just learn. They do not. Okay, anyway, it was a decree, right? So, what did he do? And here it's important again
I'm
to...
sorry, just one quick thing. What
Mhm.
was never done was to ask to destroy the Jews in one day,
Yeah.
or that Haman had the seal of the king. That was never done.
Both.
Both. Oh.
Both. And more than that. Yeah, okay, let's see.
And also to destroy all the Jews could have been the first time, even if it wasn't
Right,
in one day.
right. To kill them all in one day.
Because they're taxpayers.
Oh, wait. We'll get to the taxes. We'll get to the taxes very soon. Let's see.
Right.
So what happened? What
And
happened?
he put on.
So the Megillah, it's very important to pay attention to the dates that mentioned in the Megillah. בחודש הראשון הוא חודש ניסן, בשנת 12 למלך אחשוורוש. So it was in the 12th year when Esther married to the king already from שנת 7, so 5 years they're married. So בחודש הראשון it was in חודש ניסן. It's very important to understand this. בחודש ניסן הפיל פרעה הגורל. So he made this lottery לפני המן, מיום ליום ומחודש לחודש 12 הוא חודש אדר. So he made the lottery in Nisan. And the lottery went on the 13th day of Adar, 11 months ahead. It's important to understand this. So, but it was done in Nisan. Okay? So, here it's before he asking the king. First of all, he himself. And he chose to do this by lottery. Very interesting. Why? I have a whole lecture about this called Purim Kepurim. And in both cases we have Goral and the Seirim, Shnei Seirim. Anyway, it's a whole big thing about this Goral. But you have to know that this is the origin of the name Purim. Purim is because of the Pur. Pur, in probably Old Persian, is a lottery. In English, it's Pur. It's a Shvach. But over there, it was the Pur. But another interesting thing, we call those days Purim. As I mentioned before, if you were here, that Yud Mem at the end of a word always make singular to plural. Yad Yadayim, Ozen Oznaim, Berech Birkaim, Regel Reglaim, right? Yud Mem. So we call those days Purim. And it was Pur. He picked Pur. Because actually it was two lotteries there. What he thought he's doing and what actually happened. And it's changed. It's the V'nafach. So there were two Gorolas, two Purims. Therefore it's Purim. So he picked Pur Goral, and it happened on Yud Gimel Be'adar. And it was done in Nisan 11 months before. So after he did this, he was very happy because Adar is a time that for him looked nice, good, because Moshe Shel Israel, the one who redeemed and could take Jews from a deep problem like was in Mitzrayim, died. So because he died, it's not that Moshe died, but the redemption that Moshe represents, dead. Therefore, it's a good time to kill the Jews. What he didn't know, said the Gemara, that Moshe Rabbeinu was born in the same day, in the same time, in the same Chodesh. So Moshe Rabbeinu said at the end of Sefer Dvarim, Ben 120 shana anochi hayom, today. Hayom alu yamar yishnotai, he was born also in Zayin Ba'adar. So the Gemara says over there something again that we do not have enough time to really discuss it. So what? So what if he was born? He was dead. He died. So what? How, when he was born, was become over the fact that he died? So the thing is that he never died. He never died. He never died, meaning, again, the idea called Moshe never died. And Moshe Rabbeinu was born in order to get us the Torah, and the Torah is still with us. And therefore, he made a mistake in the calculation. He was happy too fast. Okay, so what happened? After he decided to kill the Jews in Adar, he has to go to get permission from his boss. Because still, Achashverosh is the one who could make such a decision. Haman knew his boss very well, and he know that he will not have a moral problem with this, to kill innocent people. Just because Haman feel that they will not be under him ever. That's not a reason for a king, right? But he knew that the moral issue is not the issue. When he came to get the permission, he came with a whole speech. And the Gemara says in Masechet Megilla that was never ever an anti-Semite like Haman that could show the weak points of the Jews to other anti-Semites in order to ignite it. Was never, לא היה מי שידע לדבר לשון הרע כמו המן on the Jews. So let's analyze the speech. What did he say? ויאמר המן למלך אחשוורוש, ישנו עם אחד מפוזר ומפורד בין העמים בכל מדינות מלכותך, ודתיהם שונות מכל עם, ודתי המלך אינם עושים, ולמלך אין שווה להניחם. This is the speech. He mentioned here a few major things. ויאמר המן למלך אחשוורוש, ישנו עם אחד מפוזר ומפורד. This by itself is a contradiction. עם אחד is unified. מפוזר ומפורד is not unified. בכל העמים, בין העמים, בכל מדינות מלכותך. So they are not in one place. They are all over. Jews are all over the place. Now, he mentioned the religion. ודתיהם שונות מכל עם. Their religion, anti-Semitism, the deepest of it is connected to the fact that we have the Torah. And he realized that. דתיהם שונות מכל עם. So he mentioned, you know what? they are despising us, they will not get married to us, they will not eat with us, they will not drink with us. So, though this is, their religion is
But how did he say it when they just, not just, but 5 years before they were at the party?
Yeah. They did.
They did go.
again, you asking the same question. Who went to the party? The leftists. And they think they will. It doesn't matter. Today I met so many, in my work, I met so many non-from Jews, mostly Israelis. They do not understand why the Goyim hated them. They're more Goyim than the Goyim. And it doesn't matter. They still hate it. They still hate it. They do not understand it. So anyways, the Jews, the religion. Now, it says, ודתיהם שונות מכל העם, ואת דתי המלך אינם עושים. את דתי המלך אינם עושים? What kind of religion this king has? The only religion that he has is the Bible. He's a party guy. What's דתי המלך אינם עושים? So here we come to the money. ואת דתי המלך אינם עושים. Yeah, he was a party guy, but party, especially this kind of parties, cost a lot of money. Where he got the money from? So he was rich, but still, it's going on constant basis, right? So where he got the money? From the taxes. So the Gemara says, what's the Datei HaMelech Einam Osim? They do not pay taxes. The Gemara said that. At the time, they do not pay taxes. Question is, what do you mean they do not pay taxes? It's not. The IRS in Shushan, in the Persian, was much stronger and thorough than you cannot just go away without paying taxes. So he said they have a trick. Who has to pay taxes? Someone who work. They do not work. They do not work. See, nothing changed. They do not work. What do you mean?
It'll always be.
That's what the Gemara says that he came to the king and he told him they do not work. So you do not have to care that the tax you lose in the taxes. They do not pay taxes because they do not work. And the Gemara bring if you ask a Jew, why you're not working? So the Gemara says, "Shemotziim et kol hashana kula b'shahi pahi." They have excuses of the entire years. It's called shahi pahi, and those are not words in Chinese. Shahi pahi is our initials. I always, when I see the Gemara, you see Monday morning, 6, 7, rush hour, everyone going to the trains, going to Manhattan, going to work, right? Go to Borough Park. 10, 11 people going slowly with their talis and tefillin. No one going anywhere. So, you ask a Jew, tell me, how come you're not working? So, the Jew will say, Shahi. What's Shahi? Initials, Shabbat Hayom. Today is Shabbos. Shabbos I'm not working. Fine. By the way, they do not understand it because at the time it was like today, 24/7. Why to lose one day if you could get money this day? Okay, but one day, fine, Shahi. You go Tuesday. You see Jews, again, not working. Why don't you work today? It's not Shabbos. Pahi. What's Pahi? Pesach Hayom. So today is Pesach, and then Shavuos, and then Sukkot. Many. So, Motziim et kol hashana b'shahi pahi. Every day they have an excuse. Today I'm not working because of this.
That sounds so bad.
What?
That sounds terrible.
Yeah, that's the way. That's why it says that he was the most anti-Semite. He knew the weak points. What he didn't know, that because of him, will be at least one day, Purim, that they will not work, go to work. And in Yerushalayim, the Machmir, it's Shushan Purim also.
The pahi is really Purim.
Right? So, Motziim et kol hashana b'shahi pahi. So, therefore, you are not... Therefore, you do not have to worry about the taxes. They anyway do not pay taxes. ולמלך אין שווה להניחם. אם על המלך טוב, ייכתב לעבדם. ו10,000 כיכר כסף אשכול על ידי עושה המלאכה. So first of all, he made a mathematical calculation. First of all, you're not going to lose taxes. but if you will agree, I will give you 10,000 kikar kesef, big chunk of silver, which is a lot of money. So this way he came to the king and he was sure that there is a chance. He came and he was surprised. It was much better than he thought. When he came, ויסר המלך את טבעתו מעל ידו, ויתנה להמן בן עמידת האגגי, ויאמר המלך להמן, something that again, crazy. המלך נתון לך והעם לעשות בו כטוב בעיניך. הכסף נתון לך והעם לעשות בו כטוב בעיניך. First of all, you got them approved. Do whatever you want with the Jews. I don't need your money. Why? Why I don't need your money? He needs money for the parties. He didn't want to take a cent from him. Take it. So the Gemara says that Achashverosh was not less anti-Semite than Haman. Even though the Megillah put Haman as the wicked guy. But you have to understand this. Who wrote the Megillah? Mordechai and Esther. So they could not write in the Megillah things not nice about the king at the time. Because when it's turned, Mordechai was Mishneh LaMelech. But it seems over here that he was anti-Semite, and the Gemara says that he was anti-Semite at least like Haman. And the Gemara brings a very interesting mashal. Mashal Haman ve'Achashverosh lema davar domeh, two neighbors that was near to each other. And one of them has a big hole in his backyard. And people was falling there, the kids were falling there. The other one has a big mountain of dust in the middle of his backyard. So he could not use it. So one day came Baal Abo, the one with the hole, came to his neighbor and said, I see that you have over here this mountain, you do not need it, right? I need desperately to cover my bow over there, my hole. So the neighbor told him, where were you until today? You know, I'm looking to get rid of this. Thank you for coming. So this guy said, I'm going to pay you for the house. He said, don't pay me, just take it. You'll do me a lot of favor. That's what the Gemara says about Achashverosh and Haman. So he was happy the same way, and he just gave him the Jews. Okay, I think we got to the time, I don't know, it's 11:06. Let's do it brief, just to calculate, to finish, tie the things. So what happened? It was a decree, Achashverosh bring the ring. The Gemara says that this act, that Achashverosh took his ring and gave it to Mordechai, was more powerful than the entire Tanakh. Meaning, 48 נביאים ו7 נביאות עמדו להם לישראל. וכולם, all of them were sent to make the Jews do tshuva without success. This ring that Achashverosh gave to Haman did the work of what all the Nevi'im didn't do. גדולה הייתה 10 טבעת, יותר מ-48 נביאים ו7 נביאות שעמדו להם בישראל. These are the words of the Gemara. What happened? A decree that no one could do anything. No army. You could not just do anything against it. You are now have 11 months to live, and that's it. So it seems terrible. The Gemara asks again. Okay, I could not finish it. You know what? Maybe next week you'll continue. Yes.
I'm going to give a totally different cheer.
No. Okay, I'll tell you the rest because it'll take more time. What happened is after this decree, we have to understand that Purim was a miracle, but Esther herself, in order to remove the decree, you have to understand the cause of the decree in order to take it away. So the Gemara says in Masechus Megillah that the disciples, the students of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, asked them this question: "Mipnei ma nitchayvu Yisrael shebeoto ador klaya?" Meaning, it's not Haman and Achashverosh who made the decision. It was made upstairs. No one could just decide to kill Jews. Jews are special hashgacha. So the disciple of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai came to him and said, "What is the reason?" Amar lehem Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, imru atem. You are my students. You should think about what do you think? So they said to him, מפני שנהנו מסעודתו של אותו רשע. They connected with the beginning of the Megillah, and it says that they went anyways to the Suda. Therefore, it was a decree. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, it makes some sense. It's not Avodah Zarah. It's not Gilui Arayot. It's maybe Gilui Arayot. Not Shvichus Domim. Why it was a death penalty? Death penalty to go. Okay, you didn't listen to the Shana. Death penalty. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai asked them, listen, you cannot be right, because if that's the reason, the decree should be only on the Jews in Shushan, because the invitation was the Jews of Shushan. They made the Avera. How come it was a decree on the Klal Yisrael? So the students of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai told them, okay, we do not know, so tell us. So he told them, מפני שהשתחוו לצלם בתקופת נבוכדנצר. And this seems like Avodah Zarah. It's Avodah Zarah. They השתחוו לצלם, נבוכדנצר made a big statue of him, and he forced everyone. Okay. So aside from Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, everyone was bowing down to this statue, including the Jews. So it's Avodah Zarah. So, we're talking about the students of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. They're not just. So they hear what they said and say, we have a problem with this. If so, why Hashem made a miracle for them and saved them? If it was an Avera. So Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says something amazing. He said, Hem lo asu ela lefanim, afani lo asiti imaim ela lefanim. When they bowed down, at the time, they didn't bow down in order to accept this statue as their Avodah Zarah. But it was look like this, right? So, Mida Keneged Mida did something that looked like a death penalty. So we see the calculation over here and everything. So it looks like this. Fine. So it was a decree, and the Jews understood that they finished. They had no hope, nothing. We are stubborn. Only when we feel that we could not do anything, we're not in the wall now, okay, that's it. Then, so what Esther said? In order, again, to remove the decree, we have to remove the cause of the decree. So, do tshuva. And this is one of the things that people do not really emphasize or understand in Purim. Purim was a tshuva time. It was the 3 days fast. Tzumu alai v'al tzumu, not just for diet. Tzumu because make a fast, do tshuva. Understand that only Hashem could save you and go back to Him. And that was the thing. This is what the Gemara says, that Asarat HaTabat, that the fact that the king gave the Tabat, it was more than Yeshayahu, Yirmiyahu, Yecheskel, Micha, Amos, all the Nevi'im failed, and this Kabbalah Tabat did it. What? Caused the entire nation to do tshuva. And that was a miracle of. So, we could see, again, I could not finish the lecture, the shiur now, but later on you could see that Haman went up to the highest level. And few hours before he got killed, he never think about the option that he will not succeed. Same way, the evil in the world, it started from the beginning of the creation. Hashem created the evil, as we said in the name of the Ramchal. לא נברא הרע בעולם, אלא כדי שישללוהו בני האדם. Hashem created the evil in order for human beings to realize it and deny it. But the evil succeeded since Chet Adam Rishon until today, and it's going bigger and greater and greater and greater. What we have to know, and that's what we have to learn from the Megillah, that the evil is in it, has a built-in a system of self-destroy. The same way Haman did everything in the beginning without knowing. He removed Vashti. He put Esther in. He built the gallows for himself. He did it, and he was sure that he is gonna help Mordechai, and the evil will be happy, and then it just turned the opposite. This is V'nah Foichu. So the V'nah Foichu is where the world's going to go. And this is the microcosmos. And therefore the Megillah will not be irrelevant at the end of days, because this exactly is the end of days. To show how the evil built the self-destroyed system in it. And it's going to be hanged in the tree that they built to themselves. So that's what we could cover now, but there is more.
Like the blueprint.
Right? Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy Purim. Happy Chodesh Adar. Marbi Mesimcha. It's a work. It's not just a slogan. We have to be happy every day. From more. Every happy day, more. Since Rosh Chodesh to the Kriyas Megillah in Adar. In Purim.